Well, we've done a lot of talking, we've done a lot of reading, we've done a lot of thinking, and we've documented a plan. Now we've got to begin that plan, and the service is really under pressure because they have received notice of their assessment and rating visit. So now it's all guns blazing, if you like. The working bees are going to begin, and we've got a lot of work ahead of us.
Lots of mums and dads and lots of staff members like Yvonne and the teachers and carers are going to come in, and we're going to do something really special. Oberon, tell me, what do you know?
We'll take everything off the wall.
Why are we taking everything off the walls, Oberon?
Because we're gonna paint everything a different colour.
On the first day we had about 15-20 people, and we just sort of separated into the rooms and tried to get the first coat on, and it was really nice just to see the conversations between staff and parents.
It's an opportunity, I suppose, one to contribute to Campbell Street, but also to sort of have a chat with people you might not normally mingle with.
I've had children here since Ainsley was little. She's nearly 12, so I've seen a lot happen to it, but it's an old centre and it needs a big refurbishment, so it'll be good.
I really like helping, and because I came here, it's just good.
Once you've now got a clean slate and a clean wall, you start to think about what you'd like to put up there and how you'd like to actually put things on the wall, and maybe less stuff up on the walls.
One of the things we first noticed when we came to Campbell Street was just how small and dark and visually busy the playrooms seemed. We talked with staff about if it felt busy to us, how that might feel for young children. And we came up with a plan that perhaps if we removed the clutter and painted the walls a consistent colour, the neutral colour will also help make the rooms feel bigger, lighter and newer.
When I think about redoing childcare, in my mind everything's bright coloured and that sort of novelty feeling. And I think now understanding that it's really about the natural aspect, things like that.
The colour that you're picking also can sort of really set the tone of the room. I think that we didn't really realise that until we actually put the first coat on the weekend, and then we sort of stood back and thought, wow.
I think the maximum's up to $3,000 you can apply for.
Yeah. We approached the Queanbeyan Council for assistance, either with our materials or funding.
I dropped over and there was Tanya, and there were all the volunteers, the board, directors, Josh, they're all up in ladders and painting, and for me it's quite unique to see such a project that's really community driven, the mums and dads and all getting involved, and I had no hesitation in talking to my general manager and saying, what can we do?
And the Mayor, Tim Overall, he was just wonderful. He wanted to help us with anything that he could. He donated some money towards the costs of the backyard. He also donated all of the hedging and plants.
On Monday morning, the children's reaction was a mixed bag.
Some of the children, especially the younger ones, sort of came in and it was just a little bit too much for them. It was a huge change.
There was some children that were a bit disorientated because they'd come back into a room that was totally different, everything was off the walls. For the children that had been part of the process on the Thursday and Friday, I think it was easier. But for some of the younger children that were coming back into a fairly stark, bright environment, I think it was a wee bit unnerving.
Some of the children really liked it though. They were like, wow.
The children were surprised, and some of them, that I could get a chance to sort of have a look round and sort of show round, were quite excited by the things. For some reason they moved straight all into the blocks. There was a new table there, and I'm not sure whether that's another reason why they all fitted in there, but because I think the table was there, it suddenly restricted the amount of room that was in there. So suddenly we had a lot of children in a small area, which had been a fairly big area before. Once, I think, later that morning I moved things around in that area a bit and moved the table back into the reading corner. I think the play from then on in has been a lot more settled.
And it's big, looks big, Zoe.
The staff love it. And they've come back this morning and gone, wow, it just looks so big.
The word that I heard the most often was it's white.
It's very white.
It's probably been about 10 years since the centre's had a good look at paint on the inside. So it's all done now, it looks fantastic. It really opens up the space, I think makes each of the rooms feel much bigger.
A lot of it isn't 100% yet because we don't have the furniture and stuff as yet.
Really?
Yeah!
Is there big boxes out there?
Yeah!
We're just so grateful to MTA. The children are pretty excited as well. For some of those children that are here 5 days a week, I mean, this is like their home. So imagine the impact on them when everything changes for them.
When the furniture arrived, we needed to be able to put that in, so it was all about timing and making sure that the furniture was put together. It was just essential that we had the working bees, because we just couldn't get it done in the time frame that we needed.
Why we have coffee?
It's a coffee table.
Somebody might want to have a coffee.
Oh, right.
You know, just parents coming in and putting things together and helping us lag, you know, tons of granite and you know, just the physical labour was just, yeah, it was really wonderful.
The involvement with the working bees with the staff, you know, they're not expected to be here, they're not getting paid, but they do show up as volunteers and get involved in the project and help out. The staff's involvement, you know, isn't just through helping out the working bees, you know, there's a real sense of ownership.
Today we have changed the outlay of our rooms. The children are going to be so excited.
There was a couple of times where I couldn't be here and the board took charge, and Luke and Judy, and when I came back, you know, the preschool room had been put back together. What do you think?
And I walked in, I'm just delighted. It's just fantastic. I actually was a bit teary because I couldn't believe how beautiful it was. Like, you walked in and you just felt really welcoming and warm and calming, and you know, I just looked around and I just looked at all the little things that were set up, and you just want to come in here.
Yeah, the room, it looks really good. It's really modern compared to what it was before. Nice and bright and airy, and yeah, screens look good, the furniture.
The Environment Makeover is a Commonwealth funded documentary, and the Minister for Early Childhood and Childcare, Kate Ellis, is keen to come and see progress at Campbell Street. Tanya has organised a special tree planting ceremony for the Minister.
That's how we do it. What we're seeing here is the transformation of one early learning centre, but of course it represents exactly what is happening in every single centre across Australia at the moment. We now have more children in care than at any time in our nation's history, and they are attending these centres for more hours than ever before. Now that means that we need to get it right. I might note that this video is being filmed so that the staff at the grassroots, those early educators who are doing the hard yards each and every day, can learn from the experiences of others who are going through the transformation at the same time. That you can learn from what's already occurred, the lessons you've learnt, and you can be inspired by the example of what's happening here. That's because we want to see, no matter where a child grows up in Australia, no matter what centre they attend, that they have high quality to get the best outcomes.
This morning was lovely to see the children's response to it, and the fact that they were much more settled and much more interested and engaged with the things that were around them. And even the fact the couch was there meant Zoe sat down and read a story with the children.
And I think Zoe had recognised that.
Yeah, definitely.
That was something they needed to improve on. Some things that they really have to think about what really matters for children in there, conversations really do matter.
I have to sort of retrain myself to actually sit with the children now, because they're quite happy doing their own thing and I'm not needed to supervise and police them anymore. We're going to have to program differently to take in the new environment and what we want to do within it. How do we plan for the environment? How do we organise the environment?
For any service, it's all very well to paint the walls and put in all beautiful new furniture and a whole lot of new resources. It's also now about the staff in the room being part of that plan, and actually the program will have to be about teaching children how to use this space.
And I was actually over in your block area and there were some toys that were in the wrong baskets. With our reviewed philosophy, we've sort of gone through a lot more about thinking more about the child and thinking more about the children and what we want for them, but how are they going to to get that too. If we want to achieve in our philosophy how we interact with children now, how is that promoting respect? Are we promoting respect? This project is essential to us in achieving, you know, a great sort of outcome. And it will be an ongoing process, but we've already seen with the preschool room that you change the environment and then so many other things go along with that.
Since we've made the room differently, I've been using their imaginations a lot more. For example, we made the block corner, we made that our first area which we enclosed, and we thought that would just bring more block play into it, but much to our surprise we found that the children were playing doctors and families and all sorts of different kind of things from the imagination. And instead of maybe going round and round the room playing and flitting from activity to activity, they're now tending to play in small groups, and yeah, that does free us up then to play alongside them and scaffold their learning.
I find inside a lot better now as the areas are a lot bigger and there's a lot more in that area to do. They're not running around anymore, they're sitting down at one area for a longer period of time instead of, you know, not even 5 minutes.
I didn't realise, I guess, just how much that environment was impacting on us. Yeah, once it's actually started to work and once we began to see, it was just like someone turned on a light switch.
Now that the playrooms have been painted and reorganised, it's time to start work outside. The end result will be worth it, but in the short term it means the playground is out of action for 3 or 4 weeks at least.
All of the bikes are locked up because they're building near the babies. Yeah, but we're waiting forever.
Does it feel like it's been forever?
Yes. It's been like for ages, like 10 months.
I did have a lot of pressures through the project, having to have the project completed in a certain period of time because we had assessment and we didn't know what to expect from that.
I'm really nervous. I get nervous with new people that I know, you know, parents that I know. I get anxious about talking, and then it's like, oh God, someone I don't know, they're going to come and ask me questions.
Nervous. I think too, because we're not, you know, we don't know exactly what's going to happen. You know, it's all new, and you know, we were used to the last one, so we knew what was expected, and now it's like, oh, what's expected? I think though, if this is still going when we have accreditation, I think it's good. I think that if they come and they can see things are working and they're not coming going, everything's done and it's all perfect. I think it's good to come and see that we're working to get better.
It is that pressure, we've got to get it done, and we need the children to be able to come out and enjoy it as well. It's not just accreditation, it's the children to be able to come out and enjoy it, not just look at it through the fence.
So far, everything's going well. Educators are definitely happy with the changes. The children's opportunities for play and learning have really increased. But there's pressure mounting. With assessment coming and the need to finish the makeover as soon as possible, everyone's feeling a bit of tension. It remains to be seen whether the optimism that's here at the moment is sustainable, or whether this is just the honeymoon period.